but the truth. Mr. Ferrioli.
Yes, that's fair.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. Sanchez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Gentlemen, I am informed, and it's obvious that you wish to enter a plea on a plea agreement that you've made with the state concerning charges against you. Mr. Sanchez, you were originally charged with DWI with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. Mr. Ferrioli, you were charged with having a fictitious, illegal driver's license or ID. That was the original charge. Do each of you know and understand what you're charged with, Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ferrioli?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Before we proceed, I need to make sure that you both individually know and understand that you have certain rights and protections. First of all, each of you individually has the right to remain silent. That means that neither one of you could be compelled or forced to answer any questions, make any kind of statements, or submit written paperwork in this proceeding, especially those that have your signature and admit or confess to wrongdoing. You each have the right to a jury trial individually. That means that you and your attorney, with the participation of the state, could select in your individual case 6 citizens from a pool of disinterested citizens who would hear the entire trial, the evidence, testimony, see whatever is submitted. And that 6-person jury would decide whether you've been found not guilty or whether you've been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. If you went to trial, you'd have the right to confront witnesses. The state would try and prove you guilty by using testimony from witnesses. You and your attorney would have the right to question, challenge, or cross-examine any witness who would testify. That's basically called the right to confront witnesses. Each of you would have the right to appeal. That means that once the case is over and it's finished, each of you individually, or your attorney individually, or the two of you together, you and your attorney individually, would have the right to demand that a higher court review the official record of this proceeding and all the evidence and answer or determine whatever legal challenges you might have. I caution you that the right to appeal is a little bit difficult to get done, in that you have to use the right paperwork, provide the right information, and you also have time limitations that are involved. Nonetheless, you have the right of appeal. You also, each of you individually, and in each of your cases, the state too, has the right to demand that this proceeding be held in the open public courtroom. In this, in your individual cases, you have each agreed to proceed not in the open public courtroom because of the pandemic that we're in, but through the video conferencing. Now, did each of you review the document that identifies each of you individually and respectively and is titled Defendant's Consent to Video Conference? Mr. Sanchez, did you do that and sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ferrioli?
Yes.
All right. Now, there are other documents that each of you has signed that are part of your particular file and hearing in this case. These documents required you to review them with your attorney for you to understand them and sign them. The documents that are in this file that are part of this hearing, respectively for each of you, did each of you understand that document, each document, and sign it with the guidance and counsel of your attorney, Mr. Ferrioli?
Yes.
Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, let's talk about some of those documents. One of them is very critical. It is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It has admonishments. It has acknowledgments on your part that talk about the rights and protections that I mentioned a while ago, but these now are in writing. It says that you know and understand what these are. It talks about the right to a jury trial, the right to remain silent, etc. But it's in writing. It also, that same document tells you, among other things, that you have made a deal with the state, but it is not binding on me as a judge. You need to understand that as the judge, I have the authority and responsibility to look at your deal and say either yes or no. It's got to be done. If I say no, or if I give you a punishment within the proper range for the offense to which you plead, and the punishment I give you is greater than what you have agreed to, in those two cases, if I reject your deal or I give you a punishment that's heavier than what you agreed to, the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing that you said or anything that you signed would be used against you. That is in that same document. The document is chock full of information and questions. Now, did you each understand that document? That is the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights in court's admonitions. Mr. Sanchez
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Ferrioli.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Another document is, again, a document that identifies you, each of you, individually and respectively. And it is a certification that I make. It identifies you and it says that because this is a plea bargain, a deal that you have made, you do not have a right of appeal, that you're giving that right up. Was that clear and understood, Mr. Ferrioli?
Yes.
Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Also, in your case, Mr. Sanchez, you're applying for probation.
Yes.
State, what kind of probation is he going to get?
Your Honor, Mr. Sanchez is going to get adjudicated, straight probation.
Okay. Mr. Sanchez, you're going to be granted probation, but to do so, you had to make an application. I need you to understand that probation is a written, legal, binding agreement between you and the court. And that agreement essentially is that in exchange for your plea and whatever finding I make regarding guilt or innocence, the jail portion of that sentence will be suspended, probated, so long as you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. The conditions will be read to you by the probation department. You will sign them and you'll have a copy in your hands. Live up to those and you don't see the jail again on this charge. If you violate those conditions, either because you fail or you refuse to live up to 100% of the conditions, the state may ask me to give you official notice, bring you in for a hearing, at which time the suspension of sentence or any other portion has been suspended may be imposed at that time. Do you understand that that's the essence of probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, state, talk to me about what is there any motion on this at all?
On Mr. Sanchez, the state moves to add count 2 of obstruction and waive count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Flores, there's no objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
And do you also waive the 10-day notice of amendment?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Sanchez, to that charge, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
You're pleading guilty.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, for the record, you're no longer charged with DWI at all. Now you're charged with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. That changes the punishment range significantly. State, based on there's no deferred, right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, based on your plea and the evidence, Mr. Sanchez, I find you guilty of obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. State, what is the agreement? Tell me what you're recommending on punishment.
Yes, Your Honor. The recommendation is 180 days, prorated for 12 months, $600 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, $50 to Crime Stoppers, DWI education program, Victim Impact Panel Live, TAP evaluation, and ignition interlock for 6 months.
I concur, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Sanchez, do you have children you support?
No, Your Honor.
And how do you make a living and how much do you make?
I am a welder, and I make 1,300 weekly.
How much?
1,300.
1,300, 1,300
Yes.
weekly.
Yes.
About 5,500 a month. All right, sir. All right, on the punishment, I agree with the sentence of 180 days, suspended and probated for 12 months. During those 12 months, you're not to have any alcohol whatsoever, nor any illegal drugs, and of course, no violation of the law. With the income that you have, I do not accept a $600 fine. I think it should be more like $950, which is a higher sentence than you agreed to. I'll talk to you about that shortly. You will perform 48 hours of community service restitution. You'll do a $50 donation to Crime Stoppers. You'll do the DWI education, the Victim Impact Panel live. You'll have a TAP evaluation, and the recommendations will be subject to my approval. You will have ignition interlock installed in your vehicle for a continuous 6 months. During those 6 months, you're not to drive any vehicle other than your own equipped with the ignition interlock. Your supervisory fee will be $56 a month. Now, I have imposed a sentence which is a little bit greater than what you have agreed to. Because of that, you have the right to start all over again and refuse to accept my increase. That is your choice. I think it's appropriate because of your income and the fact that you don't have a bunch of kids to support. And you're
Your
doing
Honor,
quite well.
Yeah. Your Honor, I believe he's seasonal work, Your Honor. He's not guaranteed pay every weekly, Your Honor. It's seasonal.
He's a
Well-
welder. Welders work every day if they
Your
choose.
Honor, he's not guaranteed a paycheck every day, Your Honor. He's like
Are you telling me that under oath, Mr. Sanchez, that you're not making around 5,500 a month regularly?
No, the thing is, the last time me and Adam talked, that was when I was working by myself. So no, that changed. The one thing we did talk about was that I don't own a vehicle. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if y'all have like a
Well-
handheld, but we had talked about the
Now,
handheld
let me
device.
ask you, what you were arrested in a vehicle. What happened with that vehicle?
That we lost the car. It was a truck, and we don't have it anymore longer.
When you say we, who's we?
It was my sister's, but I was under the insurance, and I would use her car, but it was her vehicle.
All right, I'm gonna require you, Mr. Flores, to provide proof of that. An affidavit from her and a copy of the title showing that it was her vehicle and in fact continues to be her vehicle. Do you live with your sister?
Yeah, she lives at home.
All right, so technically you have access to that vehicle. I'll want a sworn affidavit from your sister that she's not going to let you drive that vehicle. Do you understand, Mr. Flores?
Your Honor, the truck was repo, so we do no longer have that vehicle.
Then get me an affidavit from his sister that says that, under oath. Does she have another vehicle, Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, she just recently, this like 2 days ago, she recently got another car.
Okay, I would think so. I want a sworn affidavit that she will not let you drive that vehicle. Is that
Okay.
understood?
Yes, Ron.
All right, let me make one thing real clear. If I find out, and we'll be watching you, that you're driving, I will put you on scram, which is over 300 a month, and it's 24 hours a day, and I'll increase the amount of time from 6 months to 9 months, or even the whole year. Is that clear?
Yes, Ron.
All right. Now, anything else, Mr. Flores?
Yes, Your Honor. I just have to ask Mr. Sanchez some couple of
Mr.
questions.
Sanchez, just to make clear, you do accept the increase in the fine, is that correct?
Yes, Ron.
All right. And let me make something, let me suggest to you that right now is the worst time of year for people that do drinking and driving.
Yes.
A lot of people get killed during the Christmas holidays, which is very, very sad. Don't be drinking at all. I know there'll be a lot of temptation and friends and relatives who will want you to drink. Don't drink one bit. Is that clear?
Yes, Ron.
Instead of the ignition interlock, Mr. Flores, you know what you have to provide, the sworn affidavits. I will allow you to have the portable monitor, the Smart Start monitor for the 6 months. Anything else, Mr. Flores?
No, Your Honor, I just want Mrs. Sanchez one question. Do you work regularly as a welder, or is it seasonal?
No, it's another job. So now it's full-time job.
Okay, that's it, Your Honor.
All right, I understand you're advocating for your client, but he has been honest, and I appreciate that, Mr. Sanchez. It could have been real easy for you to lie to me, and I appreciate that you didn't. You're doing well. I wish you continue doing well, but don't be drinking and driving. You know, we see all the time where people wind up killing family members or innocent people because they're drinking and driving. Don't let that happen to you. You're young, you got a good job. Don't get messed up, okay?
Yes, Ron.
Your Honor, I have a question. What is that vehicle that he's in now? That he's driving now?
I'm not driving. This is a friend's car from work because it's loud, and so I came to their car.
Very good. All right. As you know, we will be watching, so be careful.
Yes, Ron.
All right. You need to two things. You need to go by our offices here, County Court Law Number 5, within 7 days and have your thumbprint placed on the official documents that require your thumbprint by law. And 2, do not leave. Ms. Luna, who is just questioning you, she is our court liaison officer. She'll get you started on the probation process. All right?
And when's a good day to go?
Anytime within 7 days, you need to come in and get your thumbprint on the papers. As far as the meeting right now, as soon as we're through, you're going to meet with Ms. Luna concerning being placed on probation.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Ferrioli,
Yes, Your Honor.
to the charge of fictitious, or state, is there any kind of motion on this?
No, Your Honor, no motion from the state.
To the charge of possessing a fictitious, illegal, driver's license or ID. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
A no contest plea in this court is considered a guilty plea. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And it is sufficient for me to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Did anyone threaten you, intimidate you, or promise you anything other than the plea bargain in exchange for this plea?
No, no.
All right. I accept your plea of no contest. Based on your plea and the evidence, I find you guilty. The sentence is state is 1 day, Bexar County Jail, 0 fine, court costs, credit for time served, time and money run concurrent. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, we would ask that this satisfy the judgment.
All right. I approve that recommendation. You are sentenced to 1 day, Bexar County Jail, 0 fine, court cost, credit for time served, time and money run concurrent. As part of this agreement, the court dismisses case number 655140. The court also finds that you have satisfied this judgment and you owe nothing further to the state of Texas or to this court on cases number 655139 and 655140. Any questions, Mr. Ferrioli?
No questions, Your Honor.
And Ms. Hernandez?
No, nothing further, Judge.
All righty. State, anything?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then this concludes these particular hearings. Merry Christmas to everybody. Take care.